going on, guys? Thanks for stopping by. Out here in the shop playing around. Can't work bees, so reason I can't work the bees is because I'm waiting for my queens to come back. So I'm knocking out a few frames here. These are my top bars for my beefy beehives. They're basically a standard Langstrom hive frame, 19 long. I've got 1 1/8. I've got 3/4 thick. I come in from the end 1 inch and up 3/8. That splits that 3/4 in half. Your end bars go in there, and you just eyeball and split the difference with that. There's no ears, there's no lock, and there's no dado. Simple cuts. Simple cuts. That's all you need. When you guys are making this stuff up, this is basically a standard frame size. So you could take this stuff and drop it in a regular standard hive. The bottom bar is 1/2 inch by 3/4, and it's just nail. I put 1 nail in here, but now that I have the little 18 gauge brad, I'll be putting 2 in. I want to show you something kind of neat here. These bees never cease to amaze me. Here's one that I took out of a hive that actually got weak, and the wax moth started hitting it, so I tore out the stuff. So I went ahead and put some strings in here. Hang on, fellas, I got a delivery. Back with you. Yeah, I thought I'd show you this, kind of different. I put these strings in here. The string got tore out, so I shot another string in there, and I just rubbed beeswax in. Normally I melt it and paint it on with a paintbrush. I didn't, I just rubbed it. Well, the girls didn't like that. If you look here closely, you'll see it's all frizzed up right there. It's all frizzy. This whole thing was frizzy. Them girls went in there and took all that wax off of that string and created that comb right there. And they shifted it over a little bit and attached it on the edge instead of hooking it onto the string. Why they did that, I don't have a clue. They had a little piece of burr comb stuck on the bottom here. I tore it off and smashed it in here so they could pick up on that. Been raising bees since 1962, and I'll tell you what, you never see it all in beekeeping. You always, I guess that's why it's so interesting, bees. You never know what they're going to do next. You always see something cool that they're doing, and yeah, and don't ever think for a minute you're an expert. All the years I've been working bees, don't ever think for a minute that you're an expert at bees. You may know something about bees, but no. When you think you got them all figured out, they'll throw you a curveball every time. But maybe that's why it's so fun and interesting, the beekeeping hobby, lifestyle, whatever, okay? So here's what I'm doing. This is not commercial by any means. This is something a hobbyist can do here, what I'm about to show you. With these homemade frames, I'm just knocking out a few. I've got, let's see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more to go. I've had these, then I'm gonna run out of top bars. I gotta get back in and mill some more, but I got a pile of these things out there already. I'm just trying to get ahead of the game. I'll tell you what, guys, when these nukes start coming off, these queens start coming back, you'll get on average 80% success rate on them if you feed them and everything goes well. If she gets in, does her mating flight, doesn't get eaten by a bluebird or a dragonfly or something crazy, or a car windshield, gets back, sets up, starts laying And like I said, I usually run about 80% success rate on that. She starts laying with 21 days, you're going to start getting more bees, and you better have equipment stack these things up, because I'm working with shallow equipment here, medium equipment, 5 frame. That's all I use. So you got to be vigilant, keep an eye on your stuff. They will blow out these hives and get ready to swarm if you don't give them elbow room. So get ahead of the game. Get your sugar stacked up in case you get a drought and nectar. You got to feed him, and you got to. I'm going to be feeding just about constantly anyway, because I'm trying to mass produce some bees. But find your best deal on sugar, snatch up a bunch. I usually just throw in 100 pound at a time, because my supplier is not that far away. I used to drive all the way to High Springs and get 1,000 pounds at a time, but I don't do that anymore. I'm just hobbying it basically. But this is something you can do easily. Now if you want to crank out these frames by the truckloads, you get a couple guys together and make the boxes like I told you before, and you can load up these end bars, and there's plenty of videos out there on how to bang that. I did that for years, but I think the majority of the commercial guys are just buying it. You know, they're buying the stuff and they're putting in plasticell, and my personal choice, if you're going plasticell, is go black plasticell and go you know, double wax coating at least, and use black in there. Black with a wooden frame, I find the best way to go. And a lot of the guys are doing acorn frames, and it's not a bad option either, but I just didn't care. I just never cared for all plastic, so you know, I stay with the wood, and now all I do is the monofilament. I do put a jute string in here. I staple it down at each end, paint it with wax, and these of course you have to put in. I got a little sloppy in a hurry here, beginning of the season. I was putting in all of these because I didn't have enough drawn out stuff, and they will start wobbling it all in, and you just got to go in and cut it out, push it over on center line best you can, and they will put it back in for you correctly. If you put it by a wall or in between, put one of these planes in between 2 drawed combs, otherwise you'll have a wobbled out mess. But I'm liking my little rig here, my little 18 gauge deal here, and all I use is the Bondtite 3. Like I said, this is just for hobbyist action here. You don't need to do, you know, you're going to be commercial at this. You're not going to sit here fool around at 1 frame at a time. But what I'm doing is eyeballing this straight down and hit here 2. And I just go up underneath and bang 1 there. That's it. If you get a little glue there, clean it off. Now that particular nail there didn't seat all the way. I'm going to turn up my air pressure a little bit. So I'm going to have to bang this down. Small tack hammer here. But yeah, that's it. Just bang them out. I can sit here a few hours and knock out a lot of these things. Listen to the jukebox, bang out frames, you know? Nothing wrong with these frames, guys. Nothing wrong with these at all. These things are going to, once that glue dries on this frame here, you have one strong frame. Like I say, I'm out of the bottom bars. I'm not putting them on now. What I'll do is put the bottom bars on. I'll come back in. I'll put the string in. I'll drill 2 holes through, run my mono across. Friday, going to my son's place, we're going to knock out a boatload of this stuff. He's got every cool tool known to man in the woodworking world. He likes playing with wood. I like playing with bees, but. So that's it. Get out in the shop and start banging this stuff out, guys, because you want to stay way ahead of this game. So once these bees fill up these boxes, you're going to have some place for them to go, or you're just going to have to watch them swarm, I guess. All right, get into it. Make them bees. See you later. Bye-bye.